Here we are in the machine shop at Maespoeth with Phil Scott, and we are going to talk about some of the changes that Phil has implemented since 2020. So Phil, could you tell me a little bit about some of the things that you have been doing in the machine shop in terms of rationalisation and the acquisition of new machines?
Yeah, certainly. Firstly, it's not just me, it's a team. We have a number of people who chip in, both locally and from all across the UK, who've helped with this project. So I can't claim any of that myself. During the COVID, or in the run-up to COVID, the railway had identified that the machine shop really needed updating. There was a lot of things that weren't satisfactory about it, including the health and safety aspects. During the COVID period, we took stock of the machine tools that we had and then matched that against what do we expect from the machine shop, what does the railway need, and what is realistic to do in-house and what is just better to send somebody else out. We had machines that would have been really handy once in a blue moon, and those machines have now gone. So having done the rationalisation, for example, I think we had 3 or 4 milling machines in varying states of condition, which have now been replaced with one very nice milling machine that can do more than all of the 4 in between. This Colchester lathe here is one that we kept. Was brought here by one of our members who worked in the Swish curtain blinds factory. It's done very little work. We've given it really good service. We've ironed out a number of faults on there. It's been retrofitted with a digital readout, which reduces operator error, all the mathematical mistakes people make, especially with metric and computer conversions. And it's had a quick change tool post, which again makes life much easier, meaning the workshop can produce components more accurately with less error, safer and in less time.
What are you hoping to achieve with these machines now you've rationalised the machine shop and have the machines ready for work? What sort of work are you currently doing with them and hoping to be doing in the future?
Okay, so all of this is in support of the Corris Railway and its current situation and the future objectives. We are a small railway, which is why we don't have our own wheel lathe, for example, because it's, again, more cost effective just to send that work out. So this is just in the daily support of the railway and needs running repairs on locomotives. We're currently doing a lot of work with the overhaul of number 7 with some new components there. We've also supported the signal and telegraph quite a lot with various bits and pieces there. The heritage slate wagons we've done quite a bit of work on. And really any of the daily needs which crop up with the railway that don't really warrant sending the work out to an outside contractor.
So is the hope in the future that we might be able to do more things in-house and reduce the amount that we send things out?
There were components where we would, I can think of components, the lead screws for the screw couplings that we made for the wagons, they were sent out. With the condition of this lathe now, with the extra attachments it's had, we're now confidently capable of should the need arise, we can manufacture those in-house with a better outcome for the railway than paying somebody. And of course, because of where we are in mid Wales, we're an hour and a half from the nearest motorway, which leads you to any sort of place where there is engineering facilities in the Midlands. Being able to do things now on a Saturday afternoon when something's gone wrong, rather than wait a week or 2 weeks or longer and get them to somebody who can do them, is a huge advantage when unforeseen events crop up where something's needed now.
You mentioned number 7 and the ongoing 10-year overhaul of the locomotive. Have you got any examples of things that you have been working on number 7?
Yeah, certainly. The item in this lathe now is a component for number 7. This is a fitted bolt for the reversing lever, so we're trying to improve how the loco performs. In engineering terms, there are actually only a few ways of improving the reliability of a component. One is to make it bigger, therefore stronger. Another one is to improve tolerances, improve lubrication. So these bolts are fitted bolts, so they will fit the holes in the reversing lever better. Therefore, the parts of the reversing lever align more accurately, which means that when it goes back together, it'll be a bit more positive and less rattly in operation. Reversing levers are really important on locos. There was actually a fatality a while ago on a steam railway somewhere caused by a worn reversing lever jumping the catch and the engine changed direction. So we're really keen that things like that don't happen, and hopefully we're a step ahead of the game on this.
Okay, so could you talk me through some of these components that you've been working on?
Yeah, sure. So this is the reversing lever here, and there's some other bits and pieces down there. Nothing especially wrong with the original design, but some alterations over the years. So this bore here, which is the main pivot that the reversing lever spins on, has been bored out and bushed with a bronze bush. It's also had an additional oil hole because we did get a bit of wear on there. That pin there has been reamed out to the next standard size up and an oversized pin made. These holes where some of the components locate have been reamed to the next standard size up in readiness for fitted bolts so that we have a nice close fit that's not too rattly. Right, so this is the release catch that goes on the reversing lever. Again, just to close up some tolerances, we've reamed out the holes and made some fitted bolts to go in there so when it goes back together it'll be like new. This bit here is the main pivot pin for the reversing lever. Slight improvement on the original design to improve its performance. And it's got a wearing sleeve. This is made of a hard steel in the middle, so next time the pin wears, which will hopefully be in a very long time, it's just the sleeve that needs replacing, not the entire bolt, which is a bit of work to it. This part here is again an improvement on the original design. The dimensions have been increased to improve its rigidity and the bearing surfaces, again to close up the clearances, and it supports this release, the locking dog on the reversing lever. The locking dog itself has been planed to improve flatness, and there's an additional part being made for improved retention at the top end to stop it flapping around. We do take feedback from our drivers fairly well, and it had got quite noisy and clattering around as many reversing levers do, and this is close enough tolerance now that when it goes back together it'll be like the proverbial, is it watch your sewing machine? I don't know, but quiet and nice and smooth.
As well as the improvements to the quality of the machines here and the addition of DROs, what have you done in terms of improving the environment for volunteers that are working in the machine shop?
Okay, so for those who don't know, the machine shop is located within our 1870-something engine shed, which is made of slate and somewhat inhospitable during winter months. Also, that's not good for the machines either. So the team has done all this wonderful work. We've actually properly segregated the machine shop. The other side of that wall is the steam engines. So we've no longer got steam and smoke coming in here. We've pointed up on the other side of the machine shop, the slate walls were letting a load of drafts and cold air in, and damp air, crucially. They've all been pointed by one of the workweek teams and line washed, so it's brighter in here, it's cleaner, it's no longer cold and horrible and drafty. And the real aim at the end of that, I've worked in engineering in various places throughout my life, and nobody likes working in a dark, pokey hole. And if our volunteers have somewhere pleasant to work, which is brightly lit, that's less errors in manufacture, less chance of tripping over something, clutter-free, clean, our volunteers are more likely to go home having done some good achievements that day, more likely to go home with a greater sense of achievement and satisfaction, and more likely to go, I really enjoyed that, let's come back next time. And I think that's really key, and that's overlooked in a lot of engineering facilities, not just on steam railways, but in industry in the UK. I've seen some really awful machine shops which are cluttered, where you can't find things. That's another thing I've been really driving towards, is organisation of tools, so you don't spend half your time looking for the drill bit or tap or die that you need. You know where it is, you can lay your hands on it easily and quickly and get on with the job and not have as much wasted time not actually producing work.
I noticed that a recent project that has taken place is the replacement of the floor with this now shock absorbing red and green checkerboard matting. I noticed that the machine shop has walls now at either end. You've got these machines in here. What would you do if you needed to change machines in the future or work on larger pieces of stock, etc.?
We are limited in the size of the machine shop, and we have had to be realistic when we started rationalising in what we realistically expected to be capable of doing in-house. Previously it was very cramped and it just didn't meet modern safety requirements because of how cramped it was and people bumping into things. The floor, we struggled for ages. One of the common things that you see in machine shops is anti-fatigue matting for operators. Nobody likes standing on a concrete floor, it draws on your feet. And we looked at swarf mats, and because we're a little bit tight on space in here, it would have been playing hopscotch with swarf mats. And we came to the conclusion that it's easier to actually floor the entire workshop floor with swarf mats. These just all interlock and they lift out easily should the need arise. In terms of getting machines in and out, this end wall here is actually a door within a door. The entire end wall is on heavy-duty agricultural hinges and folds out should we need to get a machine in or out. We're hoping that's not going to have to happen for a while because we've carefully serviced the machines that we're keeping and carefully selected the two new machines in here, and let's hope that they're going to be reliable for the railway for quite a long time. I think they will.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time, Phil.